Hello everyone, this is Kubo and this is my laundry talk. Hello, this show is for my language improvement, nothing else. So I will talk whatever I want to talk. If you have experienced something like this, we're gonna be fine. Let's stay together, strong, and hopefully eventually everything gets better. I'm not gonna talk anything too heavy, but what I wanted to talk about is racism. Especially more like a verbal racism rather than physical, something violent. Yeah, let me talk about that. So let me give you my standpoint first, especially as a Asian and I'm Japanese. So what we typically experience is it's not gonna be same as, you know, if you're black, if you're brown, if you're... Anyway, so my standpoint, for example, the other day, how can I start this? I usually think, for example, when I was walking on a street and then if people say ni hao, even though I'm Japanese, or they just misunderstand where I am from, I don't mind. I know it's just not limited to race. For example, I do wear feminine clothes too, and now I have long hair, so sometimes people misgender me, like people refer to me as she and her, and that's something I don't really mind. Like, I don't care. How I look is how I look. If they perceive that way, it is what it is. So I never really cared or offended by it. I'm not speaking for everyone, I'm just speaking for myself, but that's where I till today, or for now. We'll see how my mindset will go. And since I came to Canada, I haven't really had any racism experiences per se. Very luckily, fortunately. I am very appreciative about it. I'm very grateful for it. But at certain point, I definitely had thoughts that does it actually exist? I've never really felt anything like that. And I'm from Japan. Japan is monoculture. 99% of Japanese, or 99% resident in Japan are Japanese. So if you are not Japanese or non-Japanese looking, they probably experience racism daily in Japan. So in that sense, I am definitely ignorant in terms of racism, for sure. So anyway, so that's where I was, and that's where I am partially. However, though, the other day, that was my first experience, I think, that verbally I was a little bit, I questioned the situation. So what happened is, I was talking to one of the clients at the bank. He wanted to get the business card for my manager, right? So I was like, oh yeah, what is it for? I can leave some message, some kind of conversation, and he started being a little bit defensive. Like, well, why do you need to know that? I just want to know what's the branch manager. You know, I come to this bank so often, so I want to know who is in charge of this branch, blah blah blah. So I was like, oh, okay, but just wanted to know if there is a specific subject or a specific reason I can, you know, share with my manager. And he was like, well, no. And then like, okay, so it was becoming a little bit difficult conversation, and I was like, okay, I will give you the business card, but I just wanted to find out what it was for. And then I gave the business card of my manager to him, and then he was about to leave the conversation, a wicket, and then he said, "Shay." I don't know, it's Shay is thank you in Chinese, right? And I definitely felt a little bit odd in the situation. Because it's not like I have definitely experienced people saying "oh ni hao" in a first encounter at the wicket, but I never felt offended. Or they wanted to be more friendly to me. They tried to become a little bit more personalized to the person. So I heard, oh no, I'm Japanese, so I don't say ni hao, but I'm konnichiwa. That's how we say it. Like, oh, okay, sorry, I didn't mean to, and like that's the conversation goes. And that I never mind. But this time there was a context that we were in a difficult conversation. And then at the end of the conversation, he said Shay with a little bit, if I'm not mistaken, he put some attitude, right? Like, oh, Shay. And that's where I felt like a little bit intention rather than positive, like a negative intention rather than positive increment. Or there's something else rather than being closer to the person you were talking to. And that's where I felt, okay, so this is probably racism. I didn't feel good. I didn't understand why he had to say Shay to begin with, but sure, maybe he wanted to be closer or at least show his appreciation. But there's a lot of assumption, and I felt the irony in his tone. And then that goes spiral to me like, oh, maybe it was just maybe I was thinking too much, blah blah blah. So I didn't do anything about it. However, the more I think, the more I believe it was a little bit intentional and it was not necessary. So then when I think about, people get offended on street being said ni hao, I had been thinking, well, who cares? Maybe they're trying to be closer to you, they're trying to talk to you. Just think it positively. That's where I was at. But now, let's just say you're walking on the street and then 3 people walking to you and then say ni hao with like a laugh. Ni hao. I wouldn't feel good, for sure. Like, why do you have to do that? That's just so intentional. Bullying, yeah, honestly. There's definitely a portion of people trying to hurt you. So, and for the better or for the worse, I now a little bit more understand people felt hurt before because of those verbal. And it's not always bad, and I don't think it's just how you phrase it. For example, the other day I had another client. She used to be a lawyer, and I had an appointment to open up an account. And once she came in and, oh hi, my name is blah blah blah, nice to meet you, and please come on in to my room. And she stopped, right? Like, may I ask? So she said, may I ask where you are from? Are you associated with? And I can tell from your accent that you're not from here. Are you from China? If you are if you're Chinese, I would like not to continue this. And I was like, oh no, I'm Japanese, so I'm not associated with Chinese. But if you're not comfortable, that's okay. We can cancel this. And she was like, oh no, that's okay. I would just like to continue. So we proceeded. We went in a room and then had a conversation. It went great. And then after the appointment, I just never felt very hurt or anything. I never felt anything negative. Because she can believe whatever she wants to believe, and she didn't assume or she didn't give me an attitude or anything. She genuinely asked me a question and showed her intention, and then I explained who I am, and she was comfortable with it, so we went for it. So that was fine for me. It doesn't really affect me. I just never had the experience like that, so I definitely had a second thought like, oh, what was it? However, overall experience was great, so I never felt terrible about it. But the other incident, the guy told me Shay at the end of the difficult conversation, that made me feel not mad, but maybe definitely frustrated. So being said, I don't like people categorizing all the racial statements are racism. I don't believe in that. Definitely not. However, if you include irony, that's different. I think you have to use your words smartly, because you don't want to put fire on how can I say, on the gas. You never know how it's lit up. Yeah, that made me definitely think about all those things that I have been ignoring. I couldn't stand up for myself or anything on that moment. I'm glad I didn't, because I don't think it could have gone in a great way anyways. However, for the future reference, if he continues to do that, that's not good. And then again, from the, I don't know if I call myself minority, but for minority side, I have to make sure that I'm also a little bit more generous, because people are new to this experience, and not just how I look, or not just limited to my race, but in general I am definitely in a minority side, how I look, my sexuality and everything. So, and then a lot of people are new to this concept, so that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I think I need to, or I want to be a little bit more open-minded to those conversations. If they have questions, if they wanted to clarify something, I'm happy to discuss, happy to explain, and I'm not gonna say, oh, this is what it is, and then understand everything. I don't think that's fair. So I never felt that way. However, there are people actually want to offend us, or want to upset us, and that's where I need to stand up, or at least recognize those experiences happen. So if someone is experiencing same situation and get really hurt, and that's where I'm, as a group or minority, we need to stand up together and support. And that, for example, Pride Parade. Not a lot of people, but when I was scrolling all the reels on Instagram or YouTube, people have negative people have negative concept or negative opinion about it. And they say, oh, you live your life around your sexual desire. Like, I don't understand those. What are you proud of, whatever. But like, who cares? Like, I don't think Pride Parade is just embracing our sexuality. It's more about embracing the minority and just have fun on that day. On that day, no matter who you are, you can have fun. That's the main reason. And then people, if you are open to those ideas, you're okay with it, you don't care for it, you just don't have opinion. And if you don't like some kind of parade or something fun, you just don't go. But they don't really have an opinion about it. But those negative comments are logical in a way that they can bring up the logic that doesn't make sense for us to parade. And sure, I mean, whatever, but like, why do you care? Like, there's so many things. You have fun, you know, if you're a part of Christianity, Christmas is something, you know, everyone embrace, and then you're not gonna do parade, but you're gonna have some parties and have fun. And there are so many things that you're not necessarily a part of it, but there's a party and people having fun all over the world. And then Pride Parade is a part of embracement or celebration for us, and I think we deserve to have one. Yeah, so I understand if you are not interested in it, but if you have negative opinion who want to just have party, like why do you care? They must have some kind of, they just want to hurt those group, or they might be a part of those group, but they want to deny, especially in a public space, so that people think that they are not a part of those group. I'm sure those are the reasons, because like what else? Like, why else do you pay attention to minority groups party? Just because we close down the road and walk? Like, if you have car, 2 minutes detour, 5 minutes detour doesn't kill you. Like, I don't know. I think people care about other people too much. Like, I do care about surroundings too, and I want to fix that. But at the same time, like, why do you care about too much about us? Like, just let us free, and you do you, we do we. I'm sorry if you have to detour for 5 minutes, but I will detour for something else, or life, or whatever. I don't know. Past few days, I had a frustration. I'm glad to talk about it. I'm daily learning so much things, so this is a part of it. And thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day. Bye now. Yeah, interesting, right? It's very new concept. I don't know. I just never felt racism per se in Vancouver, but now I'm in Vancouver Island. I definitely feel a little bit different, and then maybe I'm in my head. But for example, like just daily life, when I'm on the Wicked, how they talk to people who they look like them, versus when they talk to people like us, like people with color. Sometimes I feel significant difference. And I didn't really care for it, but when it becomes sharp and try to stab me, that's where I have like, that's not good, I don't like that. And those difference is very hard to articulate verbally. It's very difficult to, maybe because it could be just a misunderstanding of mine. Maybe I overthink sometimes, and that ended up resulting in my head that they're being rude specifically for me. So who knows, maybe they were frustrated by the product of ours instead of specifically to me, or specifically to the people with color. So like if they talk to other white colleagues, they might be the same, they might have same attitude, not specifically to us. So who knows, it's very hard, it's very difficult to say. So as much as I can, I want to try my positive attitude to general audience. But at the same time, I don't know, I feel like at some point there are people who does change their attitude depending on the person intentionally. So there are people who do this unintentionally, and that's not good. At the same time, what can you do, right? I guess we'll find out.